Welcome back to Homestead on the Hill. Today we are making Grandma's pumpkin pie, but we're making it gluten-free. I am using Pamela's gluten-free 1-to-1 flour here, and we are adding in our dry ingredients into the bowl here. So 1.5 cups of gluten-free flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a half a teaspoon of xanthan gum, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to mix that all together, and then we are going to cut our 1/2 cup of butter that has been chilled into like 1/4 inch pieces and add that to the mixture. Once you have all those butter chunks separated and added into your flour, you're going to just fluff them around so that they all get coated with some flour so they're not sticky. And then you're going to go ahead and what's called shingle the butter, or press each piece nice and flat. And this is going to help incorporate that into your dough mixture. Once you get all of your pieces pressed flat, then you're going to come in and start trying to work the butter into your flour mixture. You're going to continue to work that butter into the flour mixture. This is going to take quite a while until you start to have just little pebbles and no loose flour left. So you'll see how this is starting to create pebbles. There isn't any loose flour necessarily left in the bottom. And at this point, you are going to add in your ice cold water, a 1/4 cup, and you are going to start working that in to your flour mixture here. If it's too dry, you can add a teaspoon more of water, but you really do not want to overhydrate your pie crust. That will make a tough crust. So really resist the urge to add extra water unless you absolutely need to. Your dough may seem crumbly, but you just don't want loose flour remaining. So once your dough looks about like this, you're going to go ahead and start to just kind of clump it together. And then once you kind of have it worked together, you're going to go ahead and get a piece of plastic wrap or parchment paper, spread that out on your counter. You're going to lightly flour that. Lightly. You don't want too much there. And then from there, you're going to go ahead and put your pie crust onto that plastic wrap. You're going to utilize your plastic wrap to help form this dough together. It's going to seem really crumbly. It should, but use that plastic wrap, start pushing it together, and start to form a dough ball. Eventually, it will start to come together, and we're going to next laminate our dough. So you can put another piece of plastic wrap on top if you don't want your dough sticking, and you're just going to press that dough flat. If your dough is seeming too sticky, you can pop it in the fridge for like 15 minutes. But you're going to go ahead and press that dough about an inch, out to about an inch thick. And then you're just going to fold it in half like I did here. You're going to press it together and flat again, and then you're going to fold it again. You're going to repeat these steps for about 6 times, pressing to an inch flat, putting it back together, folding in half, and this is called laminating your dough. Again, you want to do this about 6 times because this is what is going to create those layers in your pie crust. That flakiness to your pie crust is going to come from laminating your dough here. I won't show you all 6 times here for sakes of getting through this video, but just keep working through each fold until you've done it 6 times. Eventually your dough is going to look something more like this. And from here, you are going to go ahead and form a wheel shape with your dough. You want to do this before you're refrigerating it. It'll make rolling out your pie crust so much easier. So again, use that plastic wrap and start to form your dough into a disc shape. And then this is going to go in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. You can let it sit longer, but I wouldn't leave it in there for more than a day. before going ahead to roll out your pie crust. So you can press it on the sides here and just get that really nice disc shape. And then this will go in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Now for your pumpkin pie filling. This is Grandma's recipe, of course, and it is naturally gluten-free. So you're going to use 2 cups of pumpkin puree, 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a fourth a teaspoon of cloves, a half a teaspoon of ginger, and 1 cup of milk or evaporated milk. You're going to combine your eggs, sugar, salt, and spices into your mixer, and you're going to beat that well. Then you're going to add in your pumpkin and just blend that in so it's nice and smooth. And then lastly, you're going to mix in your milk or your evaporated milk, and you want to beat that really well. Once you have that all mixed together, it's going to look something like this, and just set that aside. Now we'll pull our pie crust back out, and we're going to roll this pie crust out. It has been in your refrigerator for at least 30 minutes and is ready to be rolled out. So we're going to put that on a parchment paper or plastic wrap that is lightly floured, and then we're going to lightly flour the top of that. You can cover it with plastic wrap or parchment paper again, just to reduce sticking of the crust. And then you're just going to start working your way, rolling that crust out. It is going to take some time. It will take a little bit of muscle to get it rolled out, but just keep working through that. Every so often I like to go in and push my sides back together and then just put my plastic wrap back on, or if I don't need to, if it doesn't feel overly sticky, you can just go ahead and roll. And then just keep working on rolling your pie crust out. Once you start to get to where you're thinking you're getting close, you're going to go ahead and grab your pie plate, and then you're going to be able to check and see how you're doing with getting your crust rolled out here. Do you need a little bit bigger? Of course, you want to remember the depth of your pie plate. So just go ahead and check it, and then go ahead and roll it out a little bit more if you need to. As I'm rolling this out, I'm just kind of patching back together any spots that start to crack. That is actually a good thing if your crust is a little crumbly. If it is holding together really, really tightly, actually, you may end up with a tough crust. So it's okay if it is a little bit cracked. You can see mine is here, and this crust turned out so good. So now you're just going to work that crust down into your dish, and then you're going to work off the excess around the outside and just start to form the edge of your crust. And then you're going to see here, you are going to miss pouring the pumpkin mixture into the pie plate before baking because my iPhone ran out of storage. So once I got this all cleaned up around the edges, I poured my pumpkin in, and one step that I didn't get to show you here was also taking cream and just brushing the exposed edges of your pie crust so that they don't burn in the oven. So here you have it. This pumpkin pie, you're going to bake at 450 degrees for 10 minutes and then reduce your heat and bake it at 350 for an additional 40 to 45 minutes, or until a knife comes out clean from the center. And then, of course, you get the joy of slicing into your cooled pumpkin pie and enjoying a slice. I'll also put in the description here how we make our homemade whipped cream to top it with, and then you can have the most decadent pumpkin pie, completely gluten-free, at your Thanksgiving or Christmas table. If this was a helpful video and you learned how to make pumpkin pie from it, I would love if you would hit that like button, hit subscribe if you aren't already, and you can find more delicious recipes at homesteadonthe.hillmn.com. dig into that pumpkin pie and enjoy every bite. Come back, check out more gluten-free made simple recipes. This one is specifically in the Holiday Treats Cookbook. Thanks so much for joining me today to make pie. And again, I hope you learned to make pie too.